collected phone records for millions of Verizon customers, the report says. How long is it going to take before the people of this country finally realize that big government doesn't do anybody any good? They've actually seized the bulk of entire Verizon's customers. They're not going after terrorists here. They're not going after an illegal situation or criminality. They're just reading everybody's phone records, just checking them out, randomly auditing them, just like the IRS. Maybe they're auditing. Who knows? They might have done a study that said like 70% of Verizon owners are Republicans, and that's why they picked Verizon. Who knows? Who cares? The bottom line is they're seizing our phone records, examining them, and looking up our ass for everything. It was from the Guardian. The newspaper claims, I'm reading from Fox News now, the newspaper claims the document shows for the first time that under the Obama administration, guess who, the communication records of millions of U.S. citizens were being collected indiscriminately and in bulk, regardless of whether they suspected any wrongdoing. I expect this from big government. I expect it from the Obama administration. These guys think that they can do anything because they're so popular. But who was the person who signed this order? Who was the judge? Isn't there anybody in the loop that has any common sense? Under the terms of the order, the phone numbers of both parties on a call are handed over, as is location data, call duration, unique identifiers, and the time and duration of the call. They're tracking people. They're tracking who goes where and when. Are you comfortable with that? If you're a liberal and you're listening to the radio show, I know we have a lot of new listeners. Are you comfortable with that? Do you think that's okay? Are you comfortable with it because you think that they're trying to keep the world safe? If that's okay. Is safety your only concern? Or do you mind that they're looking as to where you're doing and what you're doing? They probably know whether you go to Starbucks that day, you know. Next thing they know, they'll be booby trapping our toilets. Senior administration official tells Fox News a FISA court order would not allow the government to listen in on anyone's phone calls, saying that all the government would be able to collect would be metadata, such as the telephone number or the length of call. What difference does it make? They're able to track what you're doing, who you're talking to. The broad, unlimited nature of the records being handed over to the NSA is unusual. No kidding. FISA court orders typically direct the production of records pertaining to a specific named target suspected of being an agent of terrorist group or foreign state, or a finite set of individually named targets. NSA warrantless wiretapping during the George Bush administration after the 9/11 attacks was very controversial. Yeah, it was controversial because there might be some citizens who were abrogated when they checked those records. However, this use of the FISA rules are way over the top. You know, people will say, well, we shouldn't have passed the Patriot Act in the beginning. Well, this was a Bush administration policy. Yeah, I agree. It was. It shouldn't have been passed. But really, is that a defense for the misuse of it? That's like saying, well, maybe we shouldn't have invented the knife because a whole bunch of people stab people with them. Maybe we shouldn't allow people to have guns because, you know, people are going to misuse them. It's the same argument, okay? This is totally ridiculous. You can have the Patriot Act would have this kind of abuse of power, and that's what it is. Abuse of power that matches the IRS abuse of power, that matches the AP scandal abuse of power. Really, it's the Benghazi, too, is abuse of power if you get right down to the nuts and bolts of it. These are all abuse of power. These guys think they can do anything. And I want to talk about that in another segment, but something